The Premier League has a serious João Pedro problem.
Right in there, João Pedro's header!
Oh, João Pedro is so good.
Carlo Ancelotti looked at Brazil's strikers, picked his World Cup squad, and left João Pedro out. 5 preseason games later, Joao has scored 7 goals, and suddenly that decision looks very different. 2 more came against Real Sociedad in Chelsea's final friendly. One was a brutal header.
James, brilliant. There's the Reece James in.
The header is absolutely sublime.
The other was a finish so calm, it looked like he'd been doing this for years.
Can he make the win safe? Yes, he can.
But this isn't just preseason hype. João Pedro is playing with something defenders hate: confidence, aggression, movement, and a point to prove. And under Xabi Alonso, Chelsea may have built the perfect system to unleash it. By the end of this video, you'll understand why João Pedro's World Cup rejection could be the reason the Premier League now has a very serious striker problem on its hands. Back up to the summer, when Brazil named their squad for the 2026 World Cup. João Pedro had just finished the season with 20 goals for Chelsea. Not 20 goals total, 20 goals with 0 penalties. Every single one earned from open play or set pieces where somebody else took the responsibility.
How we only spent £55 million on him is ridiculous. 20 goals in all comps last season, no pens.
That's the kind of number that usually gets a striker a plane ticket. Ancelotti didn't see it that way. Rafinha got the nod. Igor Thiago got the nod. Even Neymar, coming off a season full of injuries, got picked ahead of him. The reason from the federation was simple enough on paper. João Pedro hadn't shown enough in a Brazil shirt to earn trust at this level. Club form is one thing, international pedigree is another, and he didn't have it yet. Most players in that position sulk. They coast through pre-season, half motivated, waiting for the next chance to prove a point that never really lands. João Pedro did the opposite. He walked back into training with something to settle, and it showed up immediately.
That time, he didn't spend it moping, he didn't spend it depressed, he didn't spend it sad, he spent it improving himself.
His hold-up play got sharper, his runs into the box stopped being a beat late, and started arriving exactly when the ball did.
His instinct, his finishing, his movement is good, he's looking like a 9, Rafinha's turned him into a monster. But he's just a good player, like his hold-up, his work, even in games that he hasn't scored in, he's been good.
He began winning duels against defenders who had no business losing to him, bullying centre-backs half a foot taller in ways that weren't happening last season. The first real evidence came on Morgan Rogers' debut. João Pedro rose for a header that should have been a goal on its own, forced a save out of the goalkeeper, and the loose ball dropped straight into Rogers' path for the simplest finish of his career.
Neto's got it where he wants it. Left foot clip is good, and that's headed for the corner. It's a tap-in.
The first goal Chelsea scored, very good welcome from Morgan Rogers. He scored a goal on his debut. But that came from João Pedro's presence in the air. He headed the ball, the goalkeeper saved it, and he had an easy tap-in.
Watch it back, and it's not an accident. It's a striker who read where the rebound was going before the goalkeeper even got a hand to it. That's the pattern worth paying attention to. This isn't a hot streak built on luck or a couple of bobbling deflections. This is a striker who is seeing the game a half second faster than the players trying to stop him. And that gap only tends to grow once the real season starts. Xabi Alonso didn't just win a title with Bayer Leverkusen. He went through an entire Bundesliga season without losing a single match. And he did it by building his attack around a striker who could do more than just stand between the posts and wait for service. That system is exactly what's landed on João Pedro's doorstep at Chelsea. The shape asks a lot from the front line. Wingbacks push high and wide, stretching the pitch until gaps open in the box. Fullbacks get license to whip in crosses from deep. Midfielders time their runs to arrive late, sneaking into space just as the defense loses track of who's actually there. It's not a system built for one type of forward, it's built for someone who can adapt to whatever ball comes his way. Whether that's a cross dropping from height or a pass threaded along the ground, João Pedro fits every piece of that puzzle. He finishes with both feet, so a cutback from either side is never wasted. He wins in the air against defenders with several inches on him.
See what Chelsea are trying to do? They trust João Pedro implicitly. When you put the ball in the air, you know Pedro's going to win it.
And he's just as comfortable dropping into midfield to link play as he is staying central and waiting on the last line. There's no gap in his game for Alonso to work around.
Everything that we saw, from the movement, the ball control, the dropping deeper to help Chelsea in the defensive phase, to carrying the ball forward. This man, there's nothing that João Pedro cannot do.
Every option the system creates, João Pedro can finish.
He can dribble and then score. He can score headers. He can score long shots. He can score tap-ins. He can score 1v1s. He can score every kind of goal.
Take the header against Real Sociedad. Reece James found space on the edge of the box and whipped in a cross with pace and precision, and João Pedro met it with enough power to glance the ball low into the corner before the goalkeeper could react.
A delectable ball clipped in, and João Pedro gets so much power on that header, hits it low into the bottom corner with his head, glances it past Romero, 2-1 to Chelsea.
That's not a header you get from timing alone. That's a striker who has clearly spent hours working on exactly this kind of finish, turning a skill that used to be a weakness into a weapon defenses now have to account for. Then look at the composed finish from Malo Gusto's assist. Gusto slipped a ball through the right channel with real pace on it, and João Pedro didn't panic or rush the strike. He took a touch to set himself, glanced at the goalkeeper's position, and rolled the ball just inside the far post.
Brilliant pass from Malo Gusto, releasing João Pedro and João Pedro's pace. And then, once he was sort of 1v1 with the goalkeeper, there was always going to be the one result there, and João Pedro scoring.
A good striker scores that finish sometimes, when the touch is clean and the angle opens up. A great striker scores it every time, because the composure never wavers, no matter how quickly the chance arrives. And here's the part that should really worry the rest of the league. Chelsea's front three isn't even close to full strength yet. Cole Palmer is still shaking off rust after a long break, nowhere near his sharpest. Morgan Rogers has barely had a handful of sessions with his new teammates, let alone the understanding that builds over a full season. The service João Pedro is getting right now is nowhere near what it will be once this attack actually clicks. 7 goals in 5 games, with an attack still finding its feet. Once Palmer rediscovers his rhythm and Rogers settles into how Alonso wants him to move, the numbers don't level out. They get worse for whoever's marking him. Strip away every other name in the conversation and ask one question. Who else is walking into this season with the kind of preseason momentum João Pedro is carrying? Outside of Erling Haaland, the answer is nobody.
There isn't really anything that João Pedro can't do. And other than Erling Haaland, for me personally, this is the best striker in the Premier League without doubt.
Alexander Isak still hasn't proven the fitness concerns from last year are fully behind him. Victor Gyökeres has the physical dominance and the dangerous runs behind that make defenders nervous, but his form right now just isn't matching what João Pedro is doing. Ollie Watkins and Dominic Solanke are solid, dependable options, but neither has produced anything close to this kind of pre-season form. This isn't a conversation about potential anymore, it's a conversation about who's already delivering. Go back to that 20-goal season with 0 penalties. Now remember the context around it. That tally came from a Chelsea side that finished 10th in the league, cycling through managerial changes and never settling into any real identity. João Pedro produced that number in chaos. Imagine what he does inside a system actually built for him. There's a psychological piece to this that shouldn't get overlooked. When a player feels disrespected by the people who are supposed to believe in him most, there are only 2 directions he goes. He fades, loses confidence, and starts playing like the snub was deserved. Or he explodes, using the anger as fuel every single time he steps on the pitch. Right now, João Pedro is very clearly the second version.
He's used that as fuel and he's come back, he's hit the ground running, and he's in absolutely sensational form. I've got no doubt 20 plus Premier League goals are loading for Joao Pedro this season.
You can see it with the edge he's playing with. He's not backing down from physical battles he has no business winning against bigger, stronger centre-backs. He's not letting defenders settle into a rhythm, constantly changing his runs, constantly making himself a problem, even when the ball's nowhere near him. That refusal to switch off for even a second is what separates a good preseason from a genuine statement. Chelsea hasn't had a number 9 with this kind of preseason since Diego Costa was terrorising defences.
This is the best number 9, and he was never a traditional number 9. This is the best number 9 I've seen at Chelsea in a long time. I'm talking, you know, you've had your number 9s over the years. I mean, that season with Diego Costa was good.
And you'd have to go back even further to Didier Drogba to find a striker who combined this level of physicality with this kind of finishing. João Pedro isn't there yet, but the pieces are all present, and they're compounding fast. Fulham away is the first real test. Monday Night Football, opening weekend of the season. No more warm-up games to hide behind. The Fulham backline is about to find out exactly what everyone else in the Premier League is going to be dealing with all year.
Now it's the Premier League that will pay for the injustice. Premier League defenders, get ready, because it is a wounded lion that is coming.
Ancelotti made his call. The Brazilian Federation backed it. They looked at João Pedro and said he wasn't good enough to wear that shirt this summer.
Carlo Ancelotti, the Brazilian Football Federation, and every single person that was involved in the decision to leave João Pedro out of Brazil's World Cup squad should be arrested.
The Premier League is about to find out exactly how wrong that judgment was. Fulham don't know what's coming to Craven Cottage on Monday night. Nobody in this league does yet, but they're all about to find out.